everyone, I'm Just Preeti from Checkbox, and today I'm joined by CEO and co-founder of Checkbox, Evan Wong. So last time we talked about the common use cases that people are automating within in-house legal teams, but how do you actually go about identifying those within your own organization?
So I think the first thing to appreciate is that not everything can be automated.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work that requires humans or experts like lawyers to get the work done. So robots won't steal our jobs. Not all, but anyway. But even the work that can be automated may not necessarily be the types that you want to automate, right? So whilst you can do it, the question is, should you do it? And these are the types of work where if you think about something that, let's say you do this piece of work 2 times a year, right? And yeah, it sucks, and yeah, it can be automated, and yeah, it takes you maybe 10 hours each time to do. But the technology or the project it takes to automate it might take you, let's say 50 hours to build this tool that automates it to doing it with 0 time.
Right.
It still doesn't really make sense because the whole entire work takes you 20 hours a year, but it's going to take you 50 years to build this tool to automate 20 hours worth of work.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So there's a lot of examples like that in the workplace where things can be automated, but because of a lack of frequency, because of the lack of time that is actually spent on that task, or perhaps it's on the flip side of the equation, it's that the effort and the time or the cost to automate is so high that it outweighs those factors. It doesn't make sense to automate, right? So that's what I want to start off with, like that very fundamental concept of understanding what sort of use cases are ripe for technology, are ripe for automation, and ones that are not, based on that very basic kind of cost-benefit analysis formula, right? And then the other thing we want to think about is really the level of talent that's also involved, or the level of human capital that's involved with that activity. Is it saving a paralegal's time? Is it saving a lawyer's time? Is it saving a junior lawyer's time, or a senior lawyer's time? Or is it shifting time from senior lawyer to allow a junior lawyer to do the same work, right? That also needs to be factored into the time, volume, and now what I'm saying is value cost formula, because ultimately when you multiply all 3 of these 3 things together, you should be able to come up with some sort of dollar figure, right? Some sort of quantitative number to determine if it's worthwhile to actually automate that particular use case. Correct. So once you've sort of understood what you should automate based upon that, for like a very basic framework, then the question is, how do you find these opportunities in your own organization, right? The best way is, well, speak to the users. Speak to the legal team, where are the pain points, but also speak to the business users. Because if you're going to drive automation and technology through a business, a big stakeholder, actually a much bigger stakeholder to get across the line, are the business users, who will need to be part of the change management, the adoption of this new technology, and are ultimately the beneficiaries of the legal team performing better and more efficient. And so asking them, what are they frustrated about when they work with the legal team, and being quite transparent with your own team and the business users will help surface a whole bunch of new ideas. We also see this in some organizations where they run a very active ideation workshop, like a process improvement, innovation workshop. And it's really about just building that into the culture of your team, building that into the leadership of your team, in being able to say, this is important to us, that we're not all just heads down lawyers trying to just grind through our backlog. Because I get it, there's a lot of work, but you have a lot of work because you haven't spent the time to look at automation. So, it's really driven from top down and cultural, and through these sort of processes in setting up workshops and things like that you discover sort of the use cases for automation. And I think the last thing that I'll leave you with is really the concept of prioritization as well. Because again, not everything that can be automated and makes sense to be automated should be automated today. There's a different order of severity and impact back to the business and to your people's time that needs to be factored in. So, being able to kind of, rank the sort of, based on score, the different types of use cases and the ROI and the business case for each of these automation tools that you may be looking at, in order to understand what are we doing this quarter versus next quarter versus next year? And can we break these down into smaller phases? So we do phase 1 in this quarter, but phase 2 for this tool in the second quarter, which may involve things like integration with our bookkeeping software and our finance system.
Awesome. That was actually a really insightful way to look at it. If you want to find out more about what Evan was speaking about today, visit our website. We've got a bunch of app templates, use cases, and more resources for you to check out. See you guys next time.